All right,
Working?
we're here. First
Okay.
LinkedIn Live.
Yeah, man. Oh shit, is it working for you? Okay, now it's working for me. Wow. Okay, good. I'll
It
just
looks like there's a
close
little delay,
that.
so I'm just gonna look at the riverside. Well, I
Yeah,
want to
me
see.
too. I was like having the aneurysm. It's like ah.
Okay, I can see people can comment over here, so I will watch it. I'll watch the comments.
Okay,
You do the screen
thank
share. I'll
you.
watch the comments.
Amazing.
Teamwork. All right, Omar's here. So
Omar,
we're
what's
just gonna
up?
give people a minute or two, I guess, and we'll get into it. We don't have a lot of time to waste, but welcome anybody who's popping in. Ian, hello. Hey, great. Thanks for being here. This is a
That's my
grand
co-founder Ian,
experiment.
probably.
Oh, okay, cool, cool. Nice to meet you, Ian. We got Ian and Omar. Okay, that's great. I'm so happy someone came.
I'm glad Omar's here. I was telling Omar about this. We had a call about Foveate a couple of weeks ago, and I was saying to Omar that we should do a call
Thank you.
too.
If anybody else is in the live, like sound off in the chat so we can kind of see or hear. It looks like we got 9 people in.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
as people
Pop
are
off
trickling
kings.
in, yeah, we're just gonna kind of give them a minute here.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate everybody showing up on a Friday afternoon at
For
4
sure.
or 3 p.m., depending on where you are.
And Kate in the chat. Kite, did you meditate today?
I did, but very briefly, and I can't say I was super focused on the meditation because I was kind of nervous about this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I got it in this morning too, man. I got to. Okay, we got 13 people in here now. I think we should just kind of get into it. You
Okay,
ready?
yeah, let's kick it
Okay,
off.
cool. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is our first LinkedIn Live. We're really excited to be building a sports activation pitch with you in 30 minutes. We don't have a lot of time, so hey, what's up, Joe? I see Joe, Carly in the chat, Tina. Oh, cool. We don't
Oh,
have a lot of
awesome.
time, so I'm just going to get into it. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a creative director, freelance, in experiential. And as a freelancer, a lot of times I'm dropping into a team and people don't know me, or maybe I'm the new guy, and I'm really interested in tools and systems that help us kind of work in a flow state to get on the same page so that we can have big ideas but also like keep those big ideas big. To me, that's always the hardest part when we have to go through many layers of collaboration and presentation. So I'm always on the lookout for tools that'll help me with that. And I met Kite at a networking event right before Christmas, and he told me about this product that he has. We kind of bonded on a sort of a shared dissatisfaction with PowerPoint, Google Slides, InDesign, Figma, different tools that we use to present our work because they don't integrate well with like environmental and experiential. So we bonded on that. We agreed to meet later, and he give me a demo of his tool, and we did it on Monday. And on Monday, I saw this thing. I'm like, I know so many people who would like to use this. I want to use it. Can we do a test project? And he's like, yeah, let's do a test project and like record it on LinkedIn. I'm like, let's just do it on LinkedIn Live
Let's do it
and
live.
let people see it. So that's what we're doing. That's why we're here. That's who I am. Kite, you want to tell them a little bit about you?
Yeah, sure. So, hi everybody. Kite Camp. For those who don't know, I'm an experienced architect by training. Mostly worked in the fine art world, designing art installations, custom artworks, permanent installs for museums all around the world, Archimedia facades. So, of course, all sorts of things that really do not gel well with slide decks and be explained well in a PDF. So I think all of us here have probably lost a project because the client just didn't get it. And it kind of made me realize after working in the industry for so long that there's just got to be a better way for folks like us who deal with spaces, who are trying to create experiences that make people feel something, that tell a story, to tell our own story in a way that's just more clear, it's more interactive, more immersive, and more collaborative. And nobody built it. So during the pandemic, I quit my job and ended up building myself with my co-founder Ian, who's here in the chat. And yeah, today we're going to show you live exactly what this workflow feels like. It's not supposed to be a polished recording or demo or anything like that. This is really just two creative guys jamming and making a really dope sports activation presentation as quickly as possible.
If you want to go ahead and bring up your like working environment, I'm going to do a quick little wardrobe change because we are
Yes.
actually like Everybody's probably had a cup of tea lately with FIFA if you're in the experiential industry. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a presentation. Get out of here. We're gonna build a presentation for a faux FIFA RFP that we kind of made up for the Fan Activation Center in the Zocalo in Mexico City, which is like the town square, the Constitution Square. I happen to live in Mexico City, so I know this space. And it's a real event. It's something that's really happening. But we thought, okay, this would be kind of a fun test project for us. So we wrote a fake RFP for it. And we wrote a couple of, we bounced some concepts back and forth. And we're going to kind of like look at some of that input stuff, and then we'll see what the tool does with it.
Yeah, so basically, we were thinking about this as kind of how you would approach any typical RFP. You do a lot of research first, right? You've established your relationship with the clients, and basically now what you want to do is come up with a concept that fits both, right? Something that kind of fits your creative desires, a story that you think deserves to be told in this place and for this group of people, and then also tailored to this client, the person who's the stakeholder, who's going to say yes and green light this thing, who oftentimes is not the most technical person, right? They're not like a spatial or technological expert. So you're really trying to guide them to make the right decision. So in this case, yeah, it's for FIFA, very on trend right now. And our client is Meg Patton, who's the head of event marketing. That's actually true. We didn't make her up. She's a real person.
We creeped her on LinkedIn.
So we have her information here. And then we have this RFP, the sample RFP that Adam did a beautiful job of making, that would be something like you would get for one of these projects.
Yeah, if I could. Like, I've seen a gajillion RFPs, so I think, we made this one up. It's not real, but I think there's a lot of things in there that you would look for, kind of a criteria for what is going to be successful for this activation, a sense of the space that it's going to be in, as well as like budget, timeline parameters. So like the hypothesis is like the Foveate tool will pick up on some of this input, and we'll see that in the presentation output.
So we have the issue date, January 15th, the little deadline here. We have the project overview. This is going to be in Zocalo Square, so a specific location. They want to highlight the Mexico's football heritage, be able to measure fan engagement, be really about sports, get into the social, cultural, interactive, family appeal, and then, of course, things like the specifications, what are the site stuff that we're dealing with, square footage, budget, what have you. So, 500K, blah, blah, blah. This we don't really need to look at anymore. Bam, bam. So we're going to jump over here to the Foveate app. So Foveate is still waiting list only. So if you guys want to sign up for early access, you're welcome to that in the chat. Right now, we're just looking for about 2 more companies to join our cohort in our experiential co-development partnership. So that's more for companies who are seeking to invest in a new tool for storytelling and then work with us to develop some of these features. But today we're going to show you the presentation generation. So we'll go here and pick presentations. Foveate can make all sorts of different things, but for this we're just going to do presentation, and we're going to generate one with AI. So we'll go ahead and call this FIFA Fan Zone Goles.
I think Fan Festival is there.
Oh, Fan
proper.
Festival? Okay.
Yeah.
No, we gotta be proper with the nomenclature, right?
Absolutely. You don't want to get your client event name wrong. And Goles Unidos, that's our concept. So we had our RFP, and we also, I wrote a concept for the activation to give us kind of some material, a story to tell. And, what I wanted to see with this is like, is this tool going to work with kind of like my process that I normally use, which is going to be writing? So I just wrote a 1-page narrative, talks a little bit about the core experience, some basic parameters about the technical setup and the visitor journey flow. It's a concept, so it's not going deep, but this is some more input material we're going to put in.
Mm-hmm. And any information you put in here, really the more you give it, the better. And it's just going to help tailor it to exactly what we're trying to make here. So we're going to go ahead and take Adam's concept, paste that into here to describe what we're trying to make with this presentation, and then we can go ahead and upload our RFP. So if I jump back out here and I pick the RFP here. It's going to go ahead and extract all the text information from there. And Adam and I already went ahead and generated some renders just to kind of get the mood across for what we're trying to do. And Mexico is playing South Korea actually in this iteration of World Cup.
I live in Mexico, and I'm going to be a Mexican football fan, and Kite is going to be our Korean representation. This just made it more fun for us. We kind of thought, a cool way to present would be to kind of like have our client imagine like this is game day between Mexico and Korea. So some of the imagery, it looks like, reflects that.
Yeah. So we generated some red and green jerseyed soccer players. So green for Mexico, red for Korea. So that's going to kind of be the brand imagery for this presentation, and then we'll go ahead and augment it with more stuff as we go along and develop it. So we're going to go ahead and press Generate Outline here. So what that's going to do is that the AI is going to go read the RFP, try to extract as much information as possible, and then it's going to create us an outline that would be ideal for a proposal to a client in order. So kind of explaining from largest to smallest, things like the executive summary, our approach to the project. Oh wow, that's pretty quick.
This is really important to me. I think a lot of times when we start building presentation decks, we start slamming decks together, and it gets kind of chaotic. I think bringing it back to an outline to make sure everyone's on the same page about what is the story we're trying to tell, and be able to rearrange that a little bit and agree on it is super important. So it's cool to see this built in.
Yeah, so we can see from here a little preview here just what it's extracted. So it knows that we're trying to create an interactive sports activation. We got a budget of $500K. We have all these important tags here that are relevant to what we're trying to make. It knows the location, the client's here with her email and her information, and then the sections, right? So this is essentially the table of contents describing what we're trying to make. So this has already been tailored to a really high converting sales presentation in experiential in this case, right? So you want to have stuff like the executive summary and really being able to give somebody a super high level overview of what our goals are for this project. And then our understanding of what we're trying to make here. So kind of letting the client know we understand you, we understand what you're trying to achieve, we know the limits that we have to work with. And then other things like our renders and images being added, we can reorder them here. Say we want to show that this is a penalty kick thing first, we can put that cover image there. And then our unique approach to this sort of thing, right? Like what we're going to be making, the cultural storytelling is important.
I mean, I can kind of skim the text and it's familiar from the concept description, and the background is coming from the RFP.
Yeah, exactly. So, really what we want to do is, when you traditionally are making a response to an RFP, right, you want to use as much language as possible from the initial document in your pitch. So the client will really feel like they're heard. With something like this, you kind of can skip that manual step, and it goes ahead and picks up the keywords, and then it'll put them inside. So, for example, we said in our project description that Mexico versus South Korea is very important, right? So it's gone ahead and put cultural fusion and broad appeal into it. And we know that that's going to be part of the project. We have things like the production timeline have been extracted and put into the project as well. The investments, we know we have a $500,000 budget, so it's going to go ahead and create deliverables for us, pick relevant project team members who would be who have experience in the zone, what have you, and we can go ahead and assign this now to a project like FIFA 2026, and we'll go ahead and create the presentation. So
okay, so now it's doing it.
Now it's doing it.
Building the presentation. All right.
Yeah, and now we're here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, baby. So now we have all those outlines here and a nice little table of contents. This is all able to be reordered as well if we don't like it. But this flow should already be pretty good. We have our client assigned here. Let's take a look at the executive summary.
We haven't talked a lot about the concept, so maybe we just kind of read this out loud and see what it came up with. Can I do that?
Yes, please.
Our Golos Unidos activation, that's United Goals, offers an unparalleled immersive football experience, blending Mexico's rich World Cup history with cutting-edge interactive digital gameplay. This dynamic brand activation is designed to generate high fan engagement and extend dwell time that's coming out of the RFP through a shared, competitive, and culturally resonant experience celebrating local heritage that's picking up on RFP and concept stuff while embracing global appeal. Cool. So, I might, like, if I wanted to come in here and edit this, I can, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So, I think it's done a pretty good job of getting us to a really, high level baseline. So this is where you as the human, the designer with the expertise can come in and really tailor it, the language, and give it that extra flair. But basically this is trying to cut out a lot of the busy work that you normally do.
We're 15 minutes in. We have a presentation. Why don't you, fly us through kind of the entirety? So that I know that outline is on the left-hand side there. And then in the middle, what we're seeing is kind of, it's a microsite that it generates. You can send out a link.
Exactly.
And it's built kind of content from the outline and from the input that we put in there. So maybe we fly through that and look at that so everyone kind of have a sense of where they're at. And then get into some specifics.
Sure, yeah. So just so people understand, Foveate is not designed to generate slides. It basically generates a microsite, just like a Google Docs link or something like that, but it's supposed to look good on everything from a phone screen to a tablet to an ultra-wide to a TV or something like that. The whole thing is responsive so that you can always make sure that your designs look good no matter how the client chooses to view it. About 50% of the time, a client opens your proposal on their phone first, right? So how can we make sure that they're having a great experience and not like going like this and zooming in on some really small text? But basically, you would just send this link to somebody, and then they would see it in a present mode. So basically, a very minimal, easily scrollable user interface. They can go through all your images, and really, we're just kind of thinking about it almost like Instagram, right? Making it really low friction. They can see all of your information and experience your concept just really easily. So, trying to make everything as easy as possible for them. Whether it's production timelines.
That is a cool feature. The location is kind of automatically populated in there.
Oh yeah. So this, for something like this, the site is so important in our industry, right? So how can you basically give somebody a higher level of insight into their actual project? So this actually got Zocalo the place and not the actual Constitution Plaza. So if we go in here, we can go ahead and search for a location, Constitution Plaza, and then we can go ahead and find the right spot. I think that's right. But yeah, just basically trying to give them more insights into where exactly this project is happening, and then make it feel more relevant to them. And of course, let's see, it extracted the timeline pretty well, so we have our phases, and we can go ahead and manually set like the number of weeks for how long each of these things will take. But just giving them these people, our clients, better insights into how this project's going to go. So
he swapped it there from like counter view to Gantt chart view to like more of a work back schedule view.
Yeah.
Somebody on your team who's maybe your account person or production person, they can come in here and edit all this on the internal dashboard.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just, to help take some of the busy work out of creating a Gantt chart or something like that, where you have to go into Excel or something, go make a whole long ass chart, and then all of a sudden the concept changes a little bit and you have to go back there or tell the person who made it to redo everything. It's like, well, how can we just make it a little bit easier for everybody, right? And then same with investment. This is my big problem I've had with Google Slides or something like that. It's just trying to explain deliverables, and like if I wanted to add renders here, that's like a monthly cost for something like that, right? Like why is it so hard to have that in something like Google Slides? That should be interactive and easily usable by a client.
Yeah, so it took a budget out of the RP and kind of broke it up automatically. Obviously, you want to have somebody bless this before you send it to the client, but it does give you like a way to do that really quickly and integrate there's different kinds of people that are going to be collaborating on this. It's not just designers, obviously. So this is an interesting integration. Yeah,
for the fine art world, for example, fabricators and fabrication is a huge component, and they're typically not a part of the artist studio. It's like a separate company that you're working with. So it'd be great to get their number, and then all of a sudden you can have them be a part of it, especially if you work with them a lot. Like we worked with urban art projects a lot. So in this case, we would just invite them to the deck, and then they could become an editor and add their own information in here. And if they have certain technical drawings or specifications, they can go ahead and add those in as well.
This is where it's really like it's a collaboration tool, not just a presentation tool.
Yeah, trying to make it super easy because it's a very collaborative industry, right? Like nobody really does all this stuff by themselves. So things like having your team members. So for example, you can click on anybody here and it shows their bio, their role, their email, what have you. So you can go ahead and manage your team members and be able to select the right people who would be in this project. If I only want to show three people, right? And same with your
Classic
portfolio.
team member
right?
slide.
Yeah, I mean
I
for
can
a
take questions in the chat if anybody has any.
Yeah, guys, dump the questions in the chat.
Dump questions in. I think we're coming to kind of like you've gotten kind of like an overview of what it creates, and I think Kitai, you'll want to get into some of the specific visual capabilities too.
So for our industry, right, we are very immersive, but usually the way that we present our ideas in a typical slide deck are very static, right? So how can we help make that a little bit easier? So something like Foveate, it's designed to be interactive and immersive in that sense. So we can very easily add things like 3D models. So if I want to go ahead and take a 3D model of Zocalo Square, for example, I can go ahead and just upload that in, and I can easily create a little 3D walkthrough of this place. So here's the cathedral that's there. This is where the activation area would be. So if we want to give a client a real fly-through of the space, we can go ahead, go in, and do that right here. Create these little points of view in space, get even more granular as we do it. And then it's something that they'll be able to use just like a slide deck. And then we can go ahead and start augmenting this 3D model. So we can use things like AI here. So if I want to show this, more in like a morning time of day with like an urban feel, and say, show me the plaza full of young Mexican people with green soccer jerseys, all cheering, right?
This is the official Mexico jersey, by the way.
I mean, it looks tight. I mean, this
cool.
year's jerseys are super cool, very detailed. We could even take a picture of that jersey and put it in if we wanted to get more specific. But this is going to go ahead and add a whole bunch of fans here now inside of the scene, just right in our presentation, so we can use it later. So we can go ahead and make 10 different iterations of this for different concepts, and very quickly and easily have them viewable and usable.
Keep doing what you're doing, Kite. I'm gonna pepper in some of our questions from the peanut gallery here.
Sure.
Maybe we could look at some of the we were going to use concept references, like image references, to kind of convey some of the concept. We can look at those and modify those.
Great reminder. So our concept for this project is actually an interactive shooting gallery, right? We want to show off like a penalty kick scenario. So we can go in here and show things like, we'll add a new media carousel here.
Just while you're doing that, Rob had a question about an asset library to upload case study images, resumes, etc. Is that you use repeatedly? So It looks like you're just pulling out of a folder on your desktop.
For this particular situation, this is just images that I'm uploading. But for example, everything that you add gets added to Foveate is available to view within a project. So I assigned this to a FIFA project, so any other assets that I uploaded to this project would be viewable in here. So if you do, and that's more because you might have a bunch of assets, but you probably don't reuse them in every single project. Besides things like your team members and portfolio. So those are their own separate global thing. And here's where you have like your images and videos, 3D models, PDFs that you would be using within this particular project. So yes, there is a library, and there's just like more levels to it.
Real quick, because Rob has a few questions, I think we can answer them pretty quickly. Does it track open rates and who is opening the document once it's sent?
Yes, great question. So if I were to go ahead and share this presentation, I can make this public. I can add things like advanced security, password protection, expiration dates. And when I send this on a link to somebody or shared via email, this picked up Meg here as the client. I'm going to add her in. Then I can send a share link to her. And then when she opens it, I can see the analytics of when they opened it or not, how many responses they
Excellent.
gave me. So when I open this share link, for example, I'll just open this here. You'll see what this looks like to a client. They're going to see this as a much more minimal experience.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's take a look at that. While you're like scrolling through there, Rob also asked, and I had asked this too. A lot of times, clients are going to require a PDF for an RFP response, and you can generate a PDF from here, correct?
Yes, great question. So on this sharing tab, there's actually an export button. So what this does is it's going to take all of your assets and it's going to generate a really nice graphically designed PDF for you. And then it's going to have links to things like the video, the 3D walkthroughs, stuff like that. So the PDF becomes like either a teaser that you can send them that gets them to open the actual link, so you can get that link tracking, stuff like that, or it becomes like the release, the thing that actually gets codified in an email or something like that.
Okay, the last question from Rob says, good on us for assuming the client would actually share a budget. Yeah, this RP has a budget in it.
Well,
I think one thing I like about like the kind of simplicity of the budget tool in Foveate is that you could sort of have a conversation starter budget in your proposal, which I think a lot of times clients are looking for that. They don't know how to ask for it, and that's challenging, but it can also be a good opportunity.
Yeah, for those situations, we have a good, better, best sort of constructor. So if you don't know the budget, and we used to do this a lot when I was at my old art studio, we would have multiple options, so they can pick, multiple different scenarios. And this is a good way to kind of give somebody a whole bunch of options, and then they just pick what's right for them. So here's where you could say, we would always do this kind of like a small, medium, large version of the idea. And that way they just kind of pick what's within their budget, or offer two different concepts at once within the same presentation. And we can get into that a little bit later, maybe in the talk, and show that off.
We got 3 minutes left. I feel like we put together a presentation. Like we could ask, is this client ready? I think as a creative director, I want to go in here and read every single word and make sure it's communicating like the concept and the voice that we're looking for. But it has definitely saved me hours of time, hours of emails and stitching together different tools, which I really appreciate. I want to ask maybe if there's any designers or visual people on the call. Do you have any questions about some of the... Tina's in here. Okay, cool. Tina says, usually my team works in internal and external client share Google Doc. Yeah. Is there a way to have one microsite and keep internal comms and links hidden from the client?
So maybe I don't really understand the question.
Let's see. Okay, usually they work in a Google Doc that is shared with the client. Is there a way to have one microsite and keep internal comms and links hidden from the client? If I'm understanding you correctly, Tina, you're saying a feature that you have with Google is that you can have some separation between internal comms and external comms. And you're asking if that's like a feature that we have here. And let me know if that's wrong, Tina.
I think I get it. So the share link is just what they're going to be able to see, and that's like the presentation view. But things that you do in Editor, for example, they can't see that. So like the comments, for example, where you're working with your team members, and here, if you want to add a comment and assign it to somebody, like I would say like, add Adam, then I could comment on this particular section and work on that, and you will get a notification, Adam, that we're talking about the executive summary, and maybe we want to make this a little bit more personalized, right?
So Tina says, yeah, we got it. Yeah, and that's all in the background. They don't see any of that stuff. Another background feature, the client profiler. Did you talk about that yet?
Oh, yes. No, I skipped that. Great reminder. So this is actually my favorite feature, and this really comes from my experience in the art world. So here we have Meg, right? And when you're dealing with like multi-million-dollar art projects, personalization to like these billionaire clients is like super important, right? You want to make sure that what you're doing is really tailored to that person. So here's Meg. So this is kind of the CRM aspect of Foveate. We can go ahead, and I've done some research on her that you saw in the Notion. We'll add her little profile picture, and we can go ahead and take all this information that we know about Meg, an interview she had in footballweek.com, her LinkedIn, and paste that all in here. And we know, based upon researching her a little bit and talking to her, presumably, that Meg is actually a former collegiate soccer player from NYU. She's a leader. She's been in sports marketing and branding for a while, but she's really trying to break barriers. So what we can go ahead is put that into our client profiler and basically create a design matrix profiler on Meg. What's gonna be the things that move the needle for her? How can we make sure that this presentation is tailored to her, right? So it gives this nice little radar chart here that's explaining to us, how detail oriented she might be, right? So it's going to suggest things like
this is so important because I think sometimes we get kind of caught up on like doing a pitch, putting a deck together, and that's not really what it's about. It's about like relationships and communication. So this being integrated to me helps to keep that front of mind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these are, stakeholders, decision makers, but humans, right? And you can spend as much time as possible calling them and talking to them and figuring out, what their wants and needs and desires are. Is this project gonna make or break her career at FIFA, right? That kind of gives you a bunch of information, knowing how you should work together. She's a visionary and trailblazer, so she might not be that detail oriented. So you're talking to her about like sub-millisecond tracking on the interactive penalty kick projection. She's not going to care, right? So don't bring that up, right?
Yeah.
She wants the big picture. So now we'll go back to our presentation here.
Just an FYI, we hit our half-hour mark.
Oh, okay,
so
yeah.
I don't
We'll
know
wrap
if this thing kicks us off or what, but like we can stay on and ask any more questions and probably keep messing around with it. But just FYI on the time check.
Yeah, we can go back to our presentation here. And now that we have this information about Meg, we can do things like personalize it to her, right? We can say, rewrite this executive summary tailored to Meg and make sure her goals of cross-country collaboration and family-oriented fun are met, right? So we can go ahead. And this is going to go take that information that we profiled about her, and it's going to add a little seasoning to our text here.
Fantastic.
So we'll add that in. Bam. Yeah, so now we know this is a little bit sweeter for Meg, right? But yeah, as we wrap up here, because I don't want to take too much of y'all's time on this Friday afternoon. We'll just go over, what we've done. Basically, in 30 minutes, we've gone ahead and generated a pretty dang good-looking experiential pitch, if you ask me, tailored to our client here, something that they can view very easily and understand that it's meeting all of their personal and business goals. It's highlighting your creative, the things that you're good at, and also just giving them a more immersive look into the project that you're pitching them, giving them more details into what we're going to be building here, where the site is, and basically trying to make it as easy for them as possible to understand, the complicated world of experiential and what we're trying to achieve here.
Good day. Thanks for sharing this with us, man. Thanks for being willing to do the collab live. I think that's it for today. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Pleasure. Maybe we just open it up to a couple of questions at the very end. I think we still, I don't think this is going to kick us off. But yeah, let me just reiterate that if you guys are interested in early access, we have the wait list. I think you can put that in the chat. And for folks who are at experiential companies that are interested in the co-development partnership, we have another link here for scheduling a call. But yeah, this is not like, a fully done product yet. We are still developing this and are open to adding features and things that the community, you guys, really want in here. But this is just a small sample of the presentations. There's a bunch of other things in here as well.